Hi, I'm Dr. Grandgard, and this is the orientation video for Introduction to Psychology. The first thing I would tell you to do is read the course syllabus. Everything you need to know about how things work is covered in the syllabus, okay? One of the things that's mentioned right away is a textbook called Exploring Psychology. It's by David Myers, and he has a couple of co-authors. I've known David Myers for a long time, and he's a fantastic writer and a terrific psychology teacher. But what I would tell you is the textbook is kind of a supplement. Everything you need to know in the course will be covered in the modules that you will be studying. Students often ask me in the beginning of the course, don't we have any homework? Well, this isn't high school where you read a chapter and you answer the questions at the end of the chapter or something like that. This is a college course, and really everything you need to know, I will be teaching you in the modules that follow on Blackboard. The textbook is simply there as a supplement. It will help further explain anything that I may have discussed that you want to explore further or better understand. And of course, you can always contact me during my office hours to ask questions for anything that's not clear to you. Office hours for this course will be on Monday evenings on Zoom from 7 until 8 o'clock at night. Or you can make an appointment with me to meet with me on Zoom if that time frame doesn't work for you. So read the course syllabus. That's the first thing you need to know. Of course, your homework is to open all the different modules that are posted on Blackboard, to watch the videos that I have recorded. Some of them are PowerPoint slideshows accompanied by audio lectures that I give. Study all those things, take notes on them. In other words, I conduct this, although this is an asynchronous online course, a distance learning course, I teach it as if we were actually in the classroom. What you need to know that I think a lot of students don't understand is faculty members can see whether or not you've opened a module, how much time you've spent studying that module, and when it's time to take a test, how much time you even spend on the test. Don't think that I can just blow this whole course off and then just take the test at the end. That's not going to work. I will know if you have been studying the material or not. So be sure and study it. Be sure and open all the modules. Be sure and take notes on my lectures and so on. One thing I would like to point out to you during this orientation is, besides there being 4 exams that you will need to take, and these exams are of a multiple choice, true-false type, although there will be a bonus essay on each exam. You can read about those things in the course syllabus. There's also an assignment to read a book related to psychology. I'm talking nonfiction. I'm not talking about some novel. It could be a self-help kind of book, like how to get over your depression easily or something like that. But it could be something much more technical, like Reality Therapy by William Glasser or something like that. And then you will have to write a one-page, single-spaced, typed book review and submit it through Blackboard. You can read all the details again in the syllabus. Uh, and, in that book review, you're going to have to tell me some information about the author. I want to know, how did the author become an authority on the topic that they wrote the book about? And then what was the thesis of the book? What were the main points? And then finally, your evaluation of the book. And by that I mean, how did the author support the thesis? How did the author support the main points? Did they quote research studies that have been done? Did they quote other authorities in the field? Was there an extensive bibliography in the book? And here's the big deal about the book review assignment. I have to approve your book, and everyone in the class has to read a different book. And what I'll tell you is I won't approve any book I think won't get you a good grade. So start thinking about right away what book you might want to choose to do your book review on. I will post a list of books I have already approved for classmates. That means if a book's on that list, you can't read it because everybody in the class has to read a different book. But I need to know what book you have decided to read that I have approved by the day of the first test, okay? So that's just a highlight I wanted to mention from the course syllabus. After you've watched this brief orientation video and have read the course syllabus, you need to take a quiz that is on Blackboard, and it's right in that first module that says open first. Start here, I think it says. Start here. You need to take that quiz and submit it, and you'll be able to see what questions you got wrong and what your score was. And this doesn't get included in your grade or anything like that, but it tells me that you've read the syllabus, you've watched this brief video, and you are actually enrolled and attending the class, because I have to certify you within the first 2 weeks or so of the semester as having attended the class. And this is how I've decided to do that. I would love it if you would shoot me an email and introduce yourself. You could tell me some things about yourself, like where you're from. Some people aren't necessarily from Austin. What your major is, what your career goal is, what you like to do for fun. Shoot me a little email and tell me a little bit about yourself. I've had a few students even creatively make a little video like this one and send that to me. So, together we will be studying the topic of psychology. We'll be covering all sorts of interesting things. And, quite frankly, what I want you to get out of this course is information that is useful to you. Too many students are, they just want to get a good grade in the course. Well, yeah, that's important to do well, but what's more important is to learn something. I'm concerned that you learn something in this course, okay? And learning something means you can apply it to your own life, you can apply it to your future career, and so on. Well, that's the end of this very brief orientation video. I look forward to you opening all the modules. I have spent many hours developing, and I want you to study them and apply them to your life.